So it's Wednesday. I'm 9 days post-op, so I've done a week. Um, I've noticed big changes in the last few days. So the first one is that there's a lot of bruising um, in the area, which is perfectly normal. Um, you will know if you've watched my previous videos that I said that I didn't really have any pain. Um, I do still have pain on the left side. That hasn't been fixed yet, but it will be in future. I mainly get pain on the left side when I'm sat, but the right was much worse. The right started a few years before, gradually got worse. The left side, I think, only started at some point last year. So if it's left alone, it probably will get as bad, but it's not currently as bad. And also on the left side, there isn't the issue of the 11th rib, which was a massive issue for me. Um, as you'll know if you watch my previous videos, it wasn't until my ultrasound that I realised that there was something going on as well as the slipping ribs. And it caused me quite a bit of anxiety, sort of the fact that there was no real name for it, because it wasn't rib tip syndrome, because it wasn't coming in contact with the hip. 12 was going under it, but that's not a slipping rib because it's one of the floating ribs, not a false rib, etc. So this was really rare. I haven't encountered anybody that had the hypermobile floating ribs to the degree that I do, and I wasn't sure if the surgery would fix that because I didn't have anything to go on. I had read about sort of that 11 shouldn't be sutured to the 10th rib and things, but I decided with my surgeon that we would tether it loosely. I didn't know if it would work, I didn't know if it would still be hypermobile, and I'm confident that it has worked, so that's good. The inflammation has started, that started 2 days ago. In a way, part of me thought that I had escaped all the pain, and that I was, really, really lucky. But a big part of me knew that it was coming because I'd been warned. And I think for most people, it starts sort of day 2 to 4. For me, it was day 6, and it hit me like a ton of bricks. It is intense. It's really intense. It feels like a sort of inner bruising mixed with burning and massive tenderness. Um, and it's intense is the best way to describe it. However, um, I've noticed that it's at its worst when I get out of bed. I think because I've been in one position all night. Once I move around a little bit, it gets better. It hurts to move, but it's not really bad pain. It's not like pre-surgery pain. Moving really, really helps, and ice packs. If you're going to be having surgery for slipping rib syndrome or any rib issues, if there is one piece of advice that I would really like you to take, it is get an ice pack. I got one of these, and you get 2 with this. I've actually ordered another one coming today, so I'll have 4. Stick it in the freezer, put it on, and it's a big reliever. It reduces the heat massively, because the area is quite hot to touch as well. I came off anti-inflammatories yesterday. I think if you have inflammation, it might cross your mind. It crossed my mind, well, if I'm still inflamed, shouldn't I still be taking anti-inflammatories? But the answer is no, because long term they can have detrimental effects, and also inflammation is a really quite important part of the healing process. So this inflammation is not nice, it's not pleasant, but I do get relief. Like now, the area feels sore, but it's not to the point where I can't think about anything else or it's really affecting me and, you know, my well-being in any kind of way. It's just sort of there and I can ignore it. This morning I looked out of the window in my kitchen and I saw a squirrel, and I was watching the squirrel, and I noticed that I'd been watching the squirrel for probably about 3 or 4 minutes, and I have any pain. And previously, you know, even a week and a half ago, if I had stood up for 3 or 4 minutes, I would be in massive pain, and I would need to sit or lie down. And I've spent the past 6 months sitting or lying down, or being in incredible pain. You know, even if I washed a few dishes, I'd have to lie down in bed for an hour. So I think what I'm trying to say is that although the inflammation is not nice, for me, there's so many more positives that outweigh the negatives. I can do things that I couldn't do before, you know. So this morning I looked out the window, saw the squirrel, and I realised that I was standing, and I thought, you know what, this is amazing, because I haven't been able to do this for so long. My garden is, I mean, I haven't done anything for a year because it was June 2021 when things really, really started to get bad. And then by November, it got to the point where I couldn't walk, I couldn't work, and the pain was horrific. So I haven't done anything in the garden for a year, but gardening is my pride and joy, you know, it's my passion. And throughout the lockdowns, I actually did a diploma in horticulture, and then I started a diploma in botany because I love plants, you know, it's my passion. And not being able to do that was really a bit, you know, it was upsetting. But now, today, I'll show you. I set a table this morning with these seed packets, which I got free, and I've been saving them for a long time. And I realised that, you know, I can actually plant them. So I've come up with a plan of, I've put it back in the other room, I've got a grabber, you know, like one of those litter pickers, because bending is still a bit of an issue. So for example, I'm 6'2", 188 centimetres, and I'm having to go on my knees to brush my teeth because bending down is not good. I don't know how long that'll be for, even if it's a long-term thing, you know, I can deal with it, because just being able to walk a little bit is fantastic. I can't walk for any length of time. I tried that the other day. I walked about 40 meters and it didn't go well. But I can walk around the house and walk around the garden. And I can't remember if it was yesterday or the day before, but I walked around the garden for like 5 minutes, and it was amazing just to be able to breathe fresh air and look at plants and, you know, see things that I haven't seen before. So I've come up with this plan anyway. I can stand up, I can poke holes in the floor, in the soil with a bamboo cane. Then I can use the grabber to hold the seeds, plant them in, and then use my foot to put the soil over them. I don't have to carry anything heavy when I'm watering because I've got the hose. So, you know, I need to cough. That brings me to another point. If you're having the surgery, make sure you have a cushion in every room, because if you cough, you need to brace, you need to hug the pillow to stop the ribs moving, because otherwise it hurts a lot. a lot. So yeah, so progress wise, amazing. You know, I'm walking, normally, no stick, and I can look at the garden again. So this is, I did all this from scratch. It does look messy and wild, but it was a complete blank canvas when I moved in 2 years ago. And I've got these gorgeous roses. So if you're really suffering at the moment, and you've probably, if you're watching this, you've probably been following my story from the start, please know that, you know, whatever your passions are, whatever you love, you will be able to do it again. There were points, you know, when I lost hope and I didn't think I'd be able to walk again, I didn't think I'd be able to work again, I didn't think I'd be able to garden again. Work is still something. I'm going to have the second surgery. I don't know if I'll be able to work in hospitality again, because it's, you know, 12 to 14 hour shifts, no breaks, no sitting down, lots of bending, lots of stretching, carrying heavy plates and things. I really don't think I'm going to be able to do that again, to be honest. But we'll see. And, you know, if I need to get a desk job, that's fine. I'd love to work with plants. That might be a possibility. But yeah, whatever your passion is, if you're feeling like, if you're going through this yourself and you're feeling crappy and there's things that you can't do, there is hope, because you've seen how I was and how I am now, and this is just 9 days after surgery. So I've still got a long way to go, and you know, there might be good days and there might be bad days, but we can deal with those. And you know, you might have to adapt, you might have to change things a little bit, like I'm having to sort of adapt with the gardening and stuff, but it just feels so good to be able to have some normality and just do some normal stuff, because I have sat on a sofa or on a chair or been lay on the floor or in my bed for 7 months, and that was really hard. But I coped, and that hope was something that I clung on to, and I had to really fight at various points in the journey, as you know. And I feel like it's all been worth it. There is still the second surgery to go, and there will be inflammation, and it will take a while before I can walk any distance. But losing the stick and having mobility again is something that I'm still kind of getting used to, but in a really positive way, because up until a week ago, you know, I didn't know until a few days after the surgery, when things had settled down enough for me to be able to walk a little bit. I didn't know if I was going to be able to walk without a stick. And it's, you know, it's great, it's good. Long term, I don't know how things are going to be. I don't know how much things are going to improve, but the fact that things are improving, especially in this short amount of time, is really amazing. And any amount of inflammation that I have, or, you know, if I have a bad day or a bad hour, like I've got a little bit of pain now, it's starting to burn from that little bit of a walk I just had, but it's not the worst pain in the world, and the inflammation will die down. So I'm feeling overwhelmingly positive. I'm sorry if this has been a bit sort of disjointed, or if I'm repeating things I've said on previous videos. I've been on really strong medication. So at the moment now I'm on one codeine 4 times a day, gabapentin 3 times a day, paracetamol, which I call I think they call Tylenol in the US, 4 times a day, and I'm coping fine. But yeah, codeine it's a strong medication, so it sort of affects you mentally a little bit. Not a lot, but I just don't know if I'm repeating myself a little bit. But yeah, the message is there's hope. I'm really pleased with my progress, massively grateful to Dr. Hansen, to my surgeon Joel, who has been absolutely amazing, so approachable. He listened, the compassion, and that his skill as a surgeon as well, and everybody who from the groups. There's people who I've never met, and some people I don't even know what they look like, but they've been a huge part of my journey. And in the past 6 months, there are people in my life that I called friends that I've not heard from. I've not heard anything from them, and that really affected me. The fact that people on the other side of the world cared more about me than people that I considered myself to be quite close to. But I think some people don't know how to deal with things like this, especially when it's sudden and when it's something that is rare that they've never heard of. But yeah, I'm really grateful that there's people who have supported me from however many miles it is, Australia, Norway, Denmark, parts of the UK, the US, and it's a real community, and we support each other and we check up at each other, and that's priceless. So yeah, lots of positivity, and gratefulness today.